This is my first one, so I'm still trying to determine the scope of, things that you guys would want to hear. And I know we're limited to 10 minutes because we try to stay on agenda, which is awesome. So I'll be really quick and efficient with the comments that I have. And I have three that I'd like to bring up to everyone, and things that are going on from my aspect as the 4th Fire Wing commander, and then obviously my dual hat as the installation commander. So the first thing everyone's been talking to me about and asking me about and giving me great feedback about was, how did Hurricane Florence affect you? From the standpoint of just bringing the team together, the team worked really well together, and I have an amazing team that many of these people had gone through Hurricane Matthew. But for me, the big lesson learned that I got from Hurricane Florence and that I will take with me forward into the future is the social media or the messaging campaign that we did, which was very deliberate, very precise, and we, with my PA team, had really, really good effects from it. And what I would tell you is, the way we approached it from a strategy standpoint is we thought, okay, the hurricane itself, there is a message out there that is doom and gloom. Storm of the century, no one's ever seen anything like this before. And so there was this very big panic and hysteria message out there. And so what we wanted to do, because you'd hear all the kind of feedback, was that we can't control this very, very dynamic and fluid situation. So our message is going to be about countering that message with a message that we are in control. And so if you watch the videos of where we were, I was very deliberate about giving somebody kind of an eyes on of that exact point and then providing supporting messages on that. And it was very, very, very effective. From feedback that we've gotten around, feedback from the community, and from the base perspective, it helped us tremendously. We increased our viewership almost 3,000 over 3 days. On many of our videos, there were over 100,000 views. The headquarters Air Force was watching. There were a lot of people up there that I was at the Air Force Association came up to me and they said jokes like, because I do the little hashtag, "Are you on my team?" And people would come up to me and go, "Hey, I'm on your team." And I'd like, "Ha, you're funny." So the social media thing from Hurricane Florence was the thing that I would take away from that. And just to Craig and his team, our perception from the base emergency operations center and everything that was going on in their emergency operations center and the interplay between the state, the county, the base, all of the local agencies was absolutely amazing. And so my hat's off to Craig Honeycutt right here and doing an amazing job with everything that happened there. So the second thing I want to talk about is innovation. We're doing something neat at Seymour Johnson where we are adopting a different attitude. And the reason I bring this up is I think everyone can take a little bit away from this. My vice, the handsome guy with the gray hair that looks like he's about 20 years old, Colonel Messer, is running an innovation kind of mindset through a company or through an organization called MD5. And what it is it's an approach to not look at things like typical organizations do. For example, the Air Force right now wants us to look at this technology called virtual reality. And they're like, we want you to go look at this, do a study, and then in 9 months come back and tell us, what you think. They're behind. We've been doing this for almost a year. And it's because we're adopting a different mindset than what normal organizations do, which is this funnel down thing. It's called an entrepreneurial/startup mindset, where you go directly to the company. You bypass the staff, you design a problem or you design a solution to a problem using different concepts, and then from there, you go forth and develop the technology to do that. And you're able to do rapid fielding of technologies. And so one of the things that we've done is taken virtual reality. You can put this virtual reality glasses on, and we have this high-speed camera that people are flying with, and you can sit just in a chair, put this virtual reality technology and look all around and it looks like you're flying over New Bern. It's absolutely amazing. It's going to fundamentally change the way we train and the way we educate our folks in the training mission there at Seymour Johnson. That is one of many things. On the 22nd of October, we have a design course that's coming from the University of California, Berkeley. I know, Cal Berkeley, but they're going to teach this design methodology, and we're going to work a problem set that has been very difficult for us, which is our pharmacy and how we deliver medical medicines to folks in a much more efficient way. So I'll keep you abreast on how that goes, but it's pretty neat. The third thing that I'd like to talk about is that I really need everybody's help. 52% of the base population on the 4th Fighter Wing side, okay, are E1 and E4, E1 to E4, about 25 years old and younger, all right? All of my problematic statistics, to include the driving under the influence out there in your community, in our community, are this demographic, okay? They're this demographic. What that tells me is a few things. Number one, I have a bunch of 18 to 20-year-olds, 22-year-olds that are learning how to grow up. They're learning how to get their job done, they're learning how to grow up, they're learning how to negotiate complex relationships, etc. And I don't have a lot of NCOs that know how to take care of them because we're promoting the NCOs too fast. I need your help with the Airman Sponsorship Program. You have a vested interest to bring an airman into and use a little bit of time to mentor them and teach them kind of be their, adult speak, their mom or their dad away from home. I'm telling you, if you help me do that, I will bring a lot of the destructive behaviors down. I will. I'm asking for a little bit of your time. And if you can't do it, help me find some people to do that, okay? Those are the 3 big things for me. We have lots of information on our base website. It used to be called Adopt an Airman. Now it's Airman Sponsorship because you're not really adopting someone. We changed the brand name there. Other things coming up real quick, Air Force Ball next Friday, Maxwell Center. Thank you for your sponsorship from Goldsboro, also from the Military Affairs Committee. It's going to be awesome. We've already sold almost 600 tickets. It's almost like sold out, which is amazing. More to follow on the guest speaker. And then I believe, Jeremiah, we're looking at 5 December for State of the Military. Is that right? And that is it. Does anybody have any questions for me? Look at that. Right on time. Thanks.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Colonel Yates. I'm so fortunate to have a partner like Colonel Yates here. He is truly an inspirational leader, and I'm thankful to be on his team. I'm a team member too. And the social media that you talked about, your leadership during the hurricane was amazing. Also yours, Chuck, Mayor Allen, I watched you in your raincoat there reporting from City Hall, and I was relieved. Talked about the curfew and all that, so appreciated both of your leadership during that time, because I was hunkered down in my house wondering what to do. So thank you all. Colonel Yates and I just got back from Washington, D.C., and we were at the Wing Commanders Conference where the Chief of Staff and Secretary Wilson spoke to us. And some of the topics they talked about was the National Defense Strategy and how we need to do everything to tie that to it. Our mission is to stay in step with what the nation needs us to do, which includes modernization of our aircraft, which is what we're about to do with the KC-46 when it comes in, as well as innovation. We need to be innovative and use every dollar that we've got in this very good budget that's about to be signed and use every dollar wisely. We're going to grow our squadrons to 386 squadrons by 2030. That's a lot of squadrons that we need to grow. The Navy, when they justify their budget, they talk about ships. The Air Force is now going to talk about squadrons. 386 squadrons is what we need, and that's how we're going to justify what we get in a budget. And then we talked about what the Space Force might be looking like. I don't know how that's going to work out, but I'm excited about it. We also talked about investing in our bases. And as the installation commander there, Colonel Yates, he's in charge of that. And I expect maybe some increased MILCON spending to come this way, especially as we grow the KC-46, the hangars that we need, and the infrastructure, as well as the squadrons that we need. I'm advocating for an aeroport squadron as well as an aeromedical evacuation squadron, which we do not have right now. But we can do that. The KC-46 is going to have 18 pallets on it, which is as big as a C-17. So that means it can haul cargo. It can also do an aeromedical evacuation mission that's state-of-the-art, so we can bring our wounded warriors home when they get injured downrange. And the men and women of this community, the men and women of the 916th Air Refueling Wing are going to do that mission for you. Right now, they're downrange. This year, we've deployed over 184 of your sons and daughters into harm's way, but they're doing the mission. They're fighting, and they're keeping the enemy at bay over there. As you know, we crushed ISIS. It's no longer what it used to be, and we did that with both KC-135 gas and F-15E bombs. So very proud, and it's very, very great to see Seymour Johnson tails, both the F-15s and the KC-135s, flying over Iraq and Syria and Afghanistan, doing the nation's mission, doing the nation's business, and these are the folks in this community, your sons and daughters, that are doing that. So I'm very proud of them, and I'm thankful to y'all for supporting them with whether it's the roads, the infrastructure, the lodging, the restaurants, the hotels that we stay in when we come in on the weekends. We need all that, and it's a surge capacity that we provide for the nation. So you support us in that, and it's critical that you continue to do that for our nation and our national defense. We have a couple new members. Chief Mark Kistler, he's a TAC-P trade, active duty type, comes to us now as our command chief. Colonel Amanda Sheets, she just showed up. She's our new maintenance squadron commander. She was a squadron commander. She's our maintenance group commander. She was a squadron commander at Seymour Johnson before, but I just want you to know that we're at the highest level of readiness that we've ever been. So that if we do have to go fight, we're ready. Our nation is in a position of strength now. Our civilian leaders can negotiate from a position of strength, and it's because of our military and what we provide. Our enemies, they would much rather deal with the State Department than the Defense Department. So when we show up, the negotiations are over. So I just want you to know that we provide that. And you'll see us in new uniforms soon. The ABU is coming. The OCP is coming. Chief Mark Kistler's wearing it right now, but our airmen are going to look different. They're going to look like they're in the Army. But our commander, Chief Goldstein, wants us to be a joint force, and we need to look like a joint force. And so you're going to start seeing us look like that, because we're going to go forward. We may have to be, do what we call adaptive basing, where we go and we set up an installation, a field, a base somewhere, and we defend it. And then we bring in support, and we endure that mission, whether it's communications, logistics, whether it's just combat air power. So we need to do that. We need to do that in a joint environment and with joint capabilities. So I just want you to know that we are very appreciative of the support that all of you provide us as civilian and community leaders. We could not do it without you. So Colonel Yates and I are bystanders. We sit back and watch. The airmen are doing all the leadership, they're doing all the heavy lifting, and you're doing all the supporting. So I want to say thank you for that, and I appreciate your continued support. I look forward to the state of the military on 5 December, like Colonel Yates said, in the Air Force Ball. I'm going to be there doing some dancing, so come on out if you don't have a ticket. Thank you all very much.
Craig, I see between you and I, we only have 10 minutes. That means I got 5, right?
You can have them all.
Well, I'll talk fast because I know it's about time for Chuck's afternoon nap anyway. Seems like I always end up behind the colonels when I speak. If you remember that, David, Colonel Yates spoke at our Purple Heart Ball and the ceremony, and he gave an outstanding speech. And then I had to go up. David and I had to go up after him, and we going, "What are we supposed to say?" We can't do it. But anyway, we did it. Thank you, by the way. We appreciate you guys so much. Since we last met, we've passed a budget. We fought hard. We cut a lot of money out that we would like to have spent, but we just don't have the dollars to do it. But we did get it done, and we'll move forward on that. It's just a challenging year for dollars. Our sales tax dollars were flat. They are beginning to look better, and we hope that'll continue to grow because it's important to fund a lot of different projects in there, right, Mr. Madden? We're still working on the state disaster recovery. Here we are talking about disaster recovery, and we just had another hurricane. Folks, we still got people from 2 years ago that have not received their buyout money or elevation money. And next month makes 2 years. And I assure you, I'll let the governor know my feelings on that, by the way. But hopefully this time around, there'll be experienced people in place that'll know what they're doing, and it won't take nearly as long. I just think it was the fact that the last one hit right before the election. He had a change of administration. He had a change of personnel, and it made it difficult. I'm making excuses, I guess. We are reorganizing a lot of our departments. We're moving people around. We've already moved our WCDA Development Alliance over to Malloy Street.
Yes.
and we've moved the elections board into their slot. We are going to remodel the Board of Elections, which is the old administration building, for the purposes of putting probation and parole in there. I think the adults are going in there, is that correct?
Yes.
And we're going to use the old FSA building over there on George Street for the juvenile probation and parole. The Will Sullivan building is in terrible shape. It needs to be torn down to the ground. And we got some other things, other moves that we're going to make to try to save dollars rather than building new buildings, make use of the facilities that we have. I think that's a prudent thing to do. I forgot to mention when we were doing state recovery, we did have Mike Sprayberry come in to talk to the folks who were impacted. And I think we had about 300 and some that were impacted, and we had enough money for 80 so far. Hopefully there'll be more dollars coming for that. We're working, breaking ground. Government takes forever. 3 years ago, matter of fact, we were sitting in this room, the commissioners on our retreat, and we made a decision that we would build new EMS stations because after Matthew, we found out that they were in the wrong place. Well, 3 years later, we're finally breaking grounds. We've got 4 of them that's getting ready to go up because we want them to be within 8 minutes of your house. I know I want to be 8 minutes to my house to pick me up when I drop. So that's been going on for quite a time. And we're also, at the same time, we use the same architect, Dalton, and we're building a new shell building out at Park East. And we are working on the Goldsboro Industrial Park campus. We're trying to move forward to bring jobs to this county, and it takes time to do that. Government works slowly. The next thing I want to talk about is something I can't believe I'm going to do. Here I am, a conservative Republican, and I'm going to tout a 1/4 cent sales tax that we want you to pass. It is very important. The sales tax, this touches everybody, not just the property owners. So even people who come through our town, they help pay for this. This money will go to our schools. We have already invested in the last 6 years over $90 million in our schools. We're not even touching, scratching the surface. And it impacts your mission as well because your kids go to our schools. So it's important that you support this. And another reason why is we just had another hurricane. We had huge damage to our agricultural community. Kevin Johnson told me yesterday that 40% of the tobacco crop was destroyed in the field. There are thousands of acres of drowned beans. The cotton crop is really impacted. I would hate to think that next June that we would turn around and try to raise property taxes when our agricultural community is being hit so hard. That's $1 billion in our economic support to this county, bigger than the base. So we will be having on our agenda next Tuesday, we will have a resolution to support our farmers. And I hope we all work together to try to help them. This speech that I'm giving has changed. When Carol gave me my talking points, she put it at the bottom and says, and unfortunately, we'll probably be talking about Hurricane Florence and you'll change the speech altogether. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm switching gears. This guy knows more about the details of what our folks did at the EOC and how well everybody worked together, and I'm very proud of them. So you're up.
Okay. Good afternoon, and I'm Craig Honeycutt, and I am the county manager. And I also want to thank our board of commissioners that are here, Commissioner Daltrey, also and the chairman as well for being here. But to follow up on something Colonel Yates said, we had our EOC, which was activated on Wednesday, September 12th, and we did deactivate it on Friday, September 21st at around 6 o'clock. Through that time, we were there strong for 24 hours a day for that entire period. Just to give you some quick facts about Matthew and Florence and how they compare, during Matthew, the Neuse River crested at 29.74 feet. During Florence on September 19th, the Neuse crested at 27.6 feet. So not as bad as Matthew, but still a really damaging storm to our community. One of the things with respect to public safety, we had over 25 swiftwater rescues that was called in to our EOC or through our volunteer fire departments. Also, talking about shelters, it is an incredible event to put a shelter on. We had 4 shelters that we initially opened on Thursday, September 13th. During that time, we basically were overrun. That afternoon, we had to open up 2 additional shelters. Total, we had 6 shelters open at one time, and we had 999 residents that were in our shelter at some time while the shelter was open. And just in comparison, Matthew, we had less than 500. So I think the scared, and rightfully so, that our citizens were, and the thought of Matthew, the devastation of Matthew, we really encouraged them to get into the shelters. So hopefully that was a good thing for our community as well. But again, we did close the shelters on Thursday, September 20th. We did have a few people that were still displaced, trying to get back east, and we did put them in hotels. Again, just a couple of numbers. Mount Olive Middle and Carver, we had 269. Spring Creek High and Spring Creek Middle, we had 224. Tommy's Road Elementary, 225. And Wayne Academy, we had 281. So again, we had shelters spread all throughout our county. I do want to thank our DSS staff and our health department for the work that they did manning and staffing those shelters. One of the things that I'm very proud of that occurred during this storm is the work of our public affairs department. As the Colonel said, you got to get the information out to the public. You have to share information with them. You have to be transparent. You have to let them know what's going on. During the time that we had our EOC open, we issued 50 press releases, everything from shelters to emergency declarations, you name it, we issued that as quickly as possible. Also with that, our our affairs department, we issued updates to our board 3 times a day. So along with the press release, we were updating our board as well, making sure that they knew exactly what was going on. Also during that time with public affairs, if we did a press release, we also, as the Colonel said, we use social media. I think we did an incredible job. Our public affairs staff is here. Just an incredible job of using social media, Facebook Live, Twitter, you name it, we used it to get the information out. And if something we have done and done well during this event, I really got to throw my hats up to our public affairs staff. Also, just to let you know, we had donations. We had 2 donation centers. One was at the Maxwell Center at the Farmers Market. One was at Mount Olive at the train depot. We had 2 days that we distributed food and cleaning equipment, which was Friday, September 21st, and Tuesday, September 25th. During these 2 days, we distributed supplies to 958 households, which represented 3,561 individuals to our community. So I think you should be very proud of your fellow residents, and we thank you if you donated, but it really showed the heart of Wayne County stepping up and really giving and taking care of those residents who were very much in need at the time. One thing that I think the county is very proud of, if you went by the Maxwell Center, we hosted over 200 linemen in the Maxwell Center from a period of about a week, from Friday, September 14th to Friday, September 21st. If you know our Maxwell Center Director, James Wade, is the most peculiar man who has a love of that building, but he had such a great opening. The Duke people were great. It really worked out well, but it was a great facility to hold them, but also it was good for us to have the linemen close, and I think that's part of the reason why Wayne County had our power on in a quick manner as well. So hats off to our Maxwell Center staff, but also to Duke Power. Our DSS Director, Tammy Shrinker, wanted me to mention this as well. We had to do replacement food stamps. We did that on Wednesday, September 19th, and we're still doing them, but at the close of business on Wednesday, September 26th, we've done over 4,800 replacement food stamps. So again, our staff from DSS and also Health Department, from manning shelters to replacement food stamps, now we're getting into disaster food stamps. So what I've been told, if you've not seen an event, a disaster food stamps event, we're running 8 days. And that will actually begin tomorrow. And if you know where the Busman building is on Dixie Trail, which is not far from here, that's where we have set up our disaster food stamps. So if you have anybody you know that needs to have their food replaced that they lost during the storm, that's the time to go for the next 8 days. But again, huge thanks to our staff, David, everybody, Carol, Public Affairs. This was my first hurricane, and just very proud of the way that we work with the city, the way we work with the base, and really how everybody pulled together to do the right thing for this community. Thank you.
Y'all went a little bit over time, just FYI. So it is my pleasure to be here to introduce and make comments on for the city's behalf. I do want to welcome and recognize Councilmember Broadway, Aycock, and Councilmember Hammond. Just about every one of our department heads are here, so that's always good, and we appreciate y'all coming. Bill made me think about something when he was talking about the quarter-cent sales tax, and I do think this is important to mention, especially to this group. In June, we were in Washington, D.C. at an Associated Defense conference, and Bill and David, if y'all remember, Secretary Wilson spoke to us, Colonel, and she said that in future BRAC and base realignment, that there's 2 new additions to this, and matter of fact, Kate's seen the video. We had it taped and we showed it to the NCMAC. Of course, mission and costs are always first, as y'all know, but she said that they're going to add schools because everywhere they go, schools are an issue. So that quarter-cent sales tax, and I've always said and advocated, if we do something good for the base children, it's also good for our children. So I think we don't ever want to forget that. And then the other big issue they said that we talk a lot about here in North Carolina, and I won't say it right, but reciprocity of licensure. Apparently that's a really big deal. Somebody is licensed in South Carolina or wherever, they need to be able to do their trade when they come to North Carolina. So those are 2 things I know are really high on the Air Force's radar, so therefore we're trying to get them high on our radar. City staffing, as most people know by now, our former city manager, I should say, Scott Stevens, retired on September 14th. He couldn't take it. He did stay a couple of days for Hurricane Florence. He just couldn't leave with that going on. It was killing him. So he did stay a couple of days to worry Randy and I, but that's good. And we appreciate it. We are going to Monday night hire a search firm to hire a new manager. And in the interim, Randy has stepped up as manager and doing a great job. So we appreciate Randy doing that. Jennifer Collins has been named our planning director. Jennifer's in the audience there, so she has gone from interim planning director to real planning director, I guess. And we've also hired our public information officer, Latoya Henry, and y'all met Latoya, but there she is again. She's doing her job, I hope, so that's good. So we welcome Latoya. So moving on to just miscellaneous items, I do want to take a minute, and I don't want to say a lot about Florence because there's a lot been said, but I do want to commend our city staff. They did phenomenal work, and I'm not going to start naming departments because it was really a team effort, and they did phenomenal work in this city, getting the city either from a preparation standpoint to a recovery standpoint to a post standpoint. They did great work, and I'm really, really proud of what they did. We had the North Carolina Upholstery Festival back in September, and Scott tells me there was 2,500 people on Friday night and 10,000 on Saturday night. So we're looking to keep growing that and really appreciate everybody's participation in that. We did get about $1 million grant from the Gold Leaf Fund for infrastructure that we're going to start deploying pretty soon. Just so you'll see a lot of digging going on. I think it's mostly for storm drainage. We do have a semi-pro football team going to come to the Bryan Multi-Sports Complex. And if you have more questions, that's all I know. So if you have more questions, you can ask Scott because he's over there. Okay. Our next phase of Streetscapes, Julie and all her folks are working really hard on the next phase. The Streetscapes were real close to getting this thing implemented, and that basically does the last 2 blocks plus Cornerstone Commons plus a little work at the bus station. So we're really excited about getting it. We're not where we want to be because the government has kind of held us up. Somebody talked about government being slow, but anyway, we're working through that. It's getting close, and we're looking forward to getting that started and finishing our downtown. Herman Park, everybody knows where Herman Park is on Ash Street, and we have voted to actually replace the Herman Park Center with a new facility of 40,000 square feet, about an $11 million project. The one thing, and especially given what we've gone through, we still do not have a good shelter in Wayne County. We're using schools basically for shelters. They don't have power, they don't have showers, some do, some don't, but there's a lot of issues Then if school wants to go back in. So I really hope as part of this, we can get some money to incorporate a real shelter that we can use as a gym the rest of the time or something like that. So we're going to have a lot of conversations about that. Community appearance is still a priority. We talk a lot about it. We have a crew that picks up litter just about every day, and they'll pick it up here, and then somebody comes back and puts it back. So it's kind of a circle. So anything anybody can do to help us with keeping the city clean will be very, very much appreciated. We do have our former W.A. Foster Center on Leslie Street renovated now, getting a lot of use. Asher's Boxing is our primary tenant right now, but a lot going on, a lot of interest, so we look forward to that being a real community center. Under transportation, I know a lot of people will be happy to hear this. The Wayne Memorial Drive bulb outs, which lets you do a turn on Wayne Memorial Drive where you can't do it now through the medical area. It has a let date of June 2019, so that's a lot sooner than what we thought, so that's really good. Central Heights realignment, which realigns Berkeley and Central right there, well, y'all know where that is, right there at Staples. It will be let in July of 2020, so that's really good. The William Street widening, which is widening William Street from the new bypass to the old bypass, is 2019. The Berkeley widening from New Hope to Hood Swamp is 2021, and the Ash Street widening from Berkeley to Highway 70 is 2021, and the Wayne Memorial from New Hope to the new bypass is 2021. So we really have a lot of good work coming up in the next few years to make people more mobile in our community. Potential new development coming: Harbor Freight Tools, Hobby Lobby, the Vail House Oyster Bar, which is going where Seymour was. Deacon Jones Kia, I'm excited about that one. The Deacon Jones Kia is coming. The Dollar General on Ash Street, that really is a good one because it's taking the place of, in the base, we'll know Cameron's. So the old Cameron's is going away, and we're going to get a Dollar General, which is a good replacement, I think. So, because Cameron's causes a lot of problems, Colonel, with the military. Bojangles on Wayne Memorial and Tommy's Road, and a new ABC store. We're going to need that too. So I'm glad that we're getting that.
That's critical.
Very, very important. And I do want you to know we have done a lot of work on the new on the hotel at the Maxwell. I'm saying this mainly for Jerry Daughtry's benefit, but we have a beautiful brochure that they've submitted to all the developers. If anybody knows anybody that's in the hotel business, we'd be glad to get you the brochure. But the brochure was really informational, and it's travel and tourism and whoever else did a really great job putting that together. So we're excited to get that out and see if we get any results from that. And I'm sure if we don't, Joe will let you know. Under things to do, I always hear there's not a lot to do, but man, this thing looks like there's a lot to do here to me. There's a Sunday in the Park, October 7th from 1 to 5 at Herman Park. There's Jingle in the Park, December 7th and 8th from 4 to 8. I like this one. I don't know what it is, but I like the name, Ranky Tanky. I guess that's a band, Sherry? Good, I'm good at this. Okay, good. So we got a band coming October 4th at the Paramount. The North Carolina Symphony's coming for their holiday concert on November 20th. We got a public art installation downtown, which is where we change the art at the circles, on October 12th. The downtown annual dinner is October 19th. The Taste of Wayne County is October 13th. Our 4th annual Goldsboro Thriller Night is October 26th. And we have a Creepy Crawl on the 26th. So there's a lot going on. All this is on our website, so feel free to get more information on the website. And that's kind of where we are. So thank you everybody for coming. Anybody have any questions, anybody? All right, well, everybody stay safe, and thank you for coming. We'll be adjourned.